The history of banks and how they enslaved humanity. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be looking at banks, the history behind them and how they became so powerful and how they actually now enslave humanity. Imagine it's the 12th century. You are walking to the market on your way to buy some food for the week when you are robbed by bandits. They take your purse and in it all of your silver coins. Don't you just hate it when this happens? If only there was a way to keep your money safe. Well, you're in luck. It was around this time that banks began to spring up. The bankers, as they were called, would take your gold and silver and keep it safe for you in a place protected by guards. No bandits will get to it there. They weigh it and give you a note so that at any point you could come back in and exchange the note for your gold and silver. This is why today's money, if you look at it, it says, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £5, £10, £20 or £50. Money is actually a receipt. Soon enough, people started using these notes as actual money, as they were safer and at any moment you could just pop into the bank and get your gold and silver back. You might as well hold on to the note. The bankers didn't know it yet, but this was the first step towards taking over the world. They now had control over people's money, not the notes, but the real money, the gold and silver. Fast forward a few centuries, and more people were using paper as currency. Now this was never an issue until the bankers had a great idea. They realized that because most people keep their gold and silver in the bank most of the time, and a relatively small number of people ever take out the full amount, why not print more notes? I mean, they had the resources to back it up anyway, so why not print notes for gold and silver, which technically they do not have, because you can use those notes that you've just printed as currency, making you richer. This was the second step towards taking over the world. The banks were now printing money, making it up out of thin air. Now this caused inflation and decreased the value of notes over time, meaning that people exchanging their notes for their gold and silver would get less gold and silver than they originally brought in, because the notes were worth less. This is called inflation, and along with taxation are the two biggest thefts in human history. The third and final stage of the banks taking over the world was when in 1931 the British government declared that the nation would be coming off the gold standard. This law was lobbied by London's banking sector and allowed them to print money at will. Today, if you get a mortgage and buy a house, the bank doesn't hand over gold or silver, they just print numbers on a screen. It costs the bank nothing and you spend the next 50 years indebted to them. The banks went from keeping your gold and silver safe to controlling us all through debt. And along the way, they stole all of our gold and silver. I mean, how much gold and silver do you actually own? In the words of a great friend of mine, gold is the currency of kings and emperors. Silver is the currency of gentlemen. Barter is the currency of peasants. And debt is the currency of slaves. I will ask you again, how much gold and silver do you actually own? And how much debt? In 2008, The big banks had gotten so big gambling people's money on mortgage-backed securities that the bubble simply had to burst. Well, it did. The greed of the banks was their own downfall. They were finished. They had taken people's money and illegally gambled it and lost it. The government stepped in and arrested and prosecuted the bankers responsible, confiscating what little money was left and distributed it to the victims of the financial crash. The bankers were prosecuted and the government declared that they would have no choice but to go back to the gold standard so that our currency is actually worth something and this would never happen again. Nah, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? Not a single banker was arrested, let alone prosecuted. But the government actually used taxpayers' money, that's right, your money, to bail out the banks. You heard that correctly. The banks stole your money. The government then stole more of your money and gave it back to the banks. And the people responsible for the financial crisis were rewarded with bonuses. Bonuses because they did such a good job. I'm not making this up. This is what actually happened in 2008. You were robbed. We were all robbed. And we continue to be robbed. Inflation and taxation are the two biggest thefts in human history. Thank you for watching, guys. I enjoyed making this video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. This video was just for educational purposes. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.